Let's see, which way does this go? Does it go this way? Yeah, maybe. Okay, that's normally on the wall. Good morning, VS. I took it down for an audition. I'm just putting it back up so we have some atmosphere. Elena's hey. Elena, hey Santa. Hey Visor MF. Oh, VF. Mahamud. Tails fans, Louis G, Andrea, Squaquan, did I say that right? Shri, Lily's here, Erica, Carrie, Karen, hey Karen, Brandy, Nina, Frank is in the house, Jans, Nathalie. I had a cousin named Nathalie. Hey Dhar Mann fam. Erica, good morning, how are you? Brandy's here. Hamza? Did I say that right? I'm doing well. It was kind of hectic this morning, but when isn't it? Yay, 2 moderators today. Frank's here, Sean. Yes, thank you, VS. I turned on my do not disturb. Lily, no, I don't think I've tried Milo, the chocolate malt drink. There was a chocolate malt drink we had in my childhood. What was it called? Maybe it was like Nestle Quick or something like that. Did anybody ever have that? Hey, Editing Legs. Hey, McKenna. Good morning. Somebody wants me to laugh. Laugh on command, Katherine. Thank you, Brandy. Hey, Louie. Carrie says, you're my favorite from Dhar Mann. Oh, Nesquik. Yeah, I think that's what I used to have. Good morning, Brittany. Brittany's up bright and early for a late sleeper. Olfa, hi, how are you? So did you guys see the title of today's video? I'm only going to talk for a couple minutes on this topic. I think I maybe talked a little too, no, I'm not going to say I talked too much, but more than I had planned to. Hey, Erica, I'm doing good. I think I pronounced your name wrong. Is it Eureka? Maybe it's not that. I've never seen a name like that. Ispa, have you told Dhar Mann about the time he posts in my country? It's too early. You know, he gets those messages all the time. You know, we just have to pick a time. And sometimes we pick a time that's based on what's convenient for us. Sometimes we pick a time based on, you know, where we have the most viewers in our country. And sometimes people choose times based on their analytics. Like if they see most people are online at a certain time. So I'm sorry that doesn't always work out for you. But we do what we can. So the topic for today, yeah, I know there's gonna always be spammers sometimes. And when they get timed out, it's for 3 minutes. Good morning, Orly. So sometimes people spam and they get timed out. You know, if I don't answer your question right away, you can post about it again, like in a minute or two. But when you post like 10 or 15 times in a row, it's distracting for everybody, I think, on the live. So the topic for today was make the best of what you've got. Good morning, Daryl. Today, I'm usually on for about an hour on Sundays, but today I'm probably going to cut it a little short because I am teaching Sunday school today. Okay, somebody needs to leave early. Would you be up for a Dhar Mann musical? Someone asks. Only if I was a backup dancer. I would not be subjecting your ears to my singing. Trust me on that one. So make the best of what you've got is the topic we're going to talk about for a little bit before I get into your questions. Hello, Lo, 123 Lo. I saw this quote by Robert Browning, and it said, my business, oh, I'm reading from the Red Book, Poems with Power to Strengthen the Soul. All right, enjoy your time at church, McKenna. It said, my business is not to remake myself, but to make the absolute best of what God made. I'm going to say that again. My business is not to remake myself. That's like try to fix everything about me, to do everything all like to be like anybody else. Instead, my business is to make the absolute best of what God made. Hey, Sherry Bloom. So, hey, Loretta, make the absolute best of what God made. So, how many times have we felt like the way we are is not enough? That we have to be like somebody else, that we have to be better, that we have to be smarter, that we have to be richer, that we have to be thinner, that we have to have more muscles, that we have to be more attractive, that we have to, whatever it is, fill in the blank.
Why is your balloons everywhere? I don't know why, but okay.
We're getting hijacked by Timothy. Ow, don't step on my toes.
Today's license sponsor is the Healthy Hershey's.
No, it's not.
It's healthy for you. It has 5 simple ingredients.
So he had the previous Hershey's, which had all kinds of things in that you can't pronounce. And I said, honey, you know how we like to try to only have things that with less than 5 ingredients, and we should be able to pronounce everything we're eating. If what you're eating has stuff in it you can't pronounce, you probably shouldn't be eating it.
So organic.
So Timmy. So then we found he's addicted to this week. He's addicted to Hershey's. It changes every week.
No, it isn't. I stopped.
You stopped changing it? Okay, because last week it was Kit Kat, and the week before that it was Reese's. So this week it's Hershey's. They didn't have the one full of chemicals that he normally gets. So we got Simply. I don't know. Tastes the same, but it doesn't have all the garbage in it. So
it's cool and noise.
Okay. No, he's not 8. He's actually 13.
Hershey's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, he sometimes appears younger than his age. For those of you who don't know Timmy's got some special needs, so he maybe's not quite like his 13-year-old peers, but that's just fine with me. Teenagers these days, right? Technically he's 1, but not quite caught up with all the nonsense that typical teenagers are up to these days. So, back to the topic, which is making the best of what you've got. Timmy is a prime example of making the best of what you've got. He doesn't wish to be anybody else. He doesn't try to be like the cool kids. He doesn't try to be anything other than he's not. And he thoroughly enjoys himself. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So making the best of what you've got, right? Unless you're gonna like try to make over your whole life to be different, sometimes you have to make the best of what you've got, right? Ispa is from India. Hi. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you guys to not remake yourself, but make the best of what God made? Would you be going around trying to change everything about you? Would you be, somebody on my direct messages this week was complaining that they don't have money to buy the fancy name brand stuff like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. And they were wearing these like flip-flop sandals. They took a picture and sent me. They were wearing these flip-flop sandals with handwritten pieces of paper written in black Sharpie that said Gucci. And they glued them onto the front of their shoes. And they were complaining to me that they didn't have money to buy Gucci and Louis Vuitton. And I said, why would you want to wear those brands anyway? I don't remember what their reason is, but sometimes we do things because they fit in. I have never really seen a fancy name brand something or other that even looks good. Like, I am not going to be, I don't wear stuff with like companies' names on because I'm not getting paid to be a billboard, right? You guys aren't getting paid to be a billboard. Why would you want to be a walking advertisement for some other company? Okay, that's off topic, but it made me think of that with make the best of what you've got. Maybe they were making the best of what they had. They had paper and they had a Sharpie and they were going to turn their flip-flops into Gucci flip-flops. You pronounced my name wrong, but it's okay. Ipsa? Is it Ipsa? I'm sorry. You got your feet, yeah, and you got your shoes on. Good job. Come here. You want to say hi? Okay. Son number 2, say good morning.
Good morning.
Say I love you.
I love you.
Say have a beautiful day.
Have a birthday.
That was good. Okay. Okay, let Daddy make you some breakfast. Okay. So make the best of what you've got. What does that mean to you? If you answered and I didn't see it, answer again. I do a whole lesson on this in my upcoming course, You Are Worthy, in level 1. It's called Make the Best of What You've Got. So Lily's talking about how she likes wearing Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph Lauren clothes. It's to each his own. How we choose to spend our money is our own thing, and what we value and think is important in this life is different for everyone. So hey Andrea, hey Discreet Facts, and thank you Cherry Blossom. Veronica says it's nighttime in her country. So if you're making the best of what you've got, what would you do? What would you do differently if you were going to make the best of what you've got and not just complain of what you don't have? Rosalind says be you and do you. Yeah, like what you like. You don't have to be pressured into what somebody else likes or what's cool or what's on the fashion magazines. It was interesting. I had a wardrobe fitting this week for Dhar Mann's new feature film. He's calling it a feature film. It's going to be like a 1-hour Thanksgiving special. I think that's okay for me to say. So we had our first time working with a wardrobe stylist and specialist. And I brought like a jean shirt. I brought a bunch of my clothes so she could decide what would be best for my character and what would be whatever. And one of the things I brought was a jean shirt. And she was like, oh, you brought a jean shirt. I got rid of all my jean jackets because I haven't seen anybody wear them in 2 years. And I was like, why would you get rid of something you liked just because you haven't seen anyone else wear it in 2 years? And like she was talking to me about what's in style and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I bring what I like. I don't know if this is in style. I don't know if it's not in style. All I know is, when I go shopping, it's usually like, I like the color and it fits me. I don't know. So I'm not very fashionable, perhaps, but I just thought to myself, why would you get rid of something you really like just because you don't see other people wearing it? Like, what happened to being original? What happened to being unique? Oh, welcome back to the live. How do you say your name? Koru Ixhi? I butchered that, didn't I? So yeah, we all have our own style. We all don't feel pressured to fit in. If you can find a plain shirt that you like for $10, why would you pay $50 for a shirt with just somebody else's name on it? I don't get the logic personally. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to say anything. Okay. You're very lucky to meet Jordan Matters. I'm his biggest fan. He was a fun guy. He was fun to work with. Lily says she dresses on what's trending now. Hey, Angel. I don't have time to keep up with that. I guess I'm...
in the bedroom.
Okay, I'm not in the fashion field. I don't have to fit into what's cutting edge, thank goodness, because that sounds exhausting to me. I have too many other things to keep up with. But Do you guys ever feel pressure to be something other than you're not? I guess that's what I was getting at. Okay, thank you, Veronica. I'm ready to answer your questions or keep talking on the topic. Via says, to make the best of what you've got, practice gratitude. Don't get into the mentality of if will be happy only if. I'll be happy only if. Exactly. Why wait to be happy? You know, I see that. I keep getting interrupted. I need to hide it? Why don't you have Dad hide it? You see I'm in the middle of a live stream? When I was a kid, I had Jordache and Levi jeans. I never even thought they were in style. Were they? I don't know. I don't know what was in style when you were growing up. I don't know. I don't know. I remember Esprit was in style when I was in high school. That was one of the brands. I wear what I can afford, and that's comfortable from Target. The most recent Dhar Mann episode, Mama's Boy, made me cry. Aw. Maybe when I was younger, I cared, but not at my age today. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Yeah, I cared. I think I cared only because, not that I cared, but that I was being ostracized and made fun of. And, you know, nowadays shopping at thrift stores is kind of cool. People think it's kind of like retro, vintage. And they remember that rap song that came out like 3 or 4 years ago about shopping at the thrift store? That kind of made it cool. But that's all I could afford when I was in high school until I got my own job. And I remember some of the rich kids making fun of me for shopping at the thrift store. And that was like, in high school, you just don't want to be a freak. You want to fit in. But now it's like, you know how sometimes you go, man, I wish I knew what I knew now back then. I wouldn't have let things bother me. You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name. I'm just going to call you Core, the first 3 letters. Tell me, like, phonetically spell out how to pronounce your name. Vias knows I got his name wrong, probably the first 5 lives, but I think I've got it now. Guess It asks, how did you meet Dhar Mann? I met him at the Penthouse when we shot there. They run their makeup company there by day, and they were running their acting stuff there by night. Rosalind says, I love thrifting. Oh, my name is Grayson. Well, okay. It throws me when people's names are different than their their YouTube names are different than their real name. Brittany said, I scored a $10 brand new Columbia coat for Natalie at a thrift store recently. Cool. Very cool. Those are warm jackets. You need that where you live. Okay. Andrea's talking about some different name brands. How much do you pay for what? I don't know. People say they love shopping at thrift stores. Why do rich kids think they have the right to treat people badly? I mean, you could get into a lot of psychology with that. Eureka, I don't know. He doesn't like to be on camera. I don't think Rob would do a Q&A. But I got him to do the Colorado vlog. Did you see that? That was kind of miraculous. I think the only reason I got him to do that is because he's like a historian. His dad loved history, and he kind of loves history, and I think he wanted to preserve the memories for later and be able to come home and show the kids. And he normally films a lot of his trips. I mean, one time when he stayed in the very bottom of the Grand Canyon in a Native American camp, he made a beautiful documentary on that called Have a Soup by Trails. He never tried to get distribution or anything for it, but he made copies for everyone that was on the trip, and it's a beautiful documentary. I think they're the Have a Soup by Indians, and they have no stores down there. They have no stores down there, and you want this marker? You make sure you get some paper, okay? They have no stores down there, and you have to take a donkey to get down there. We almost lost him on that trip because I think the donkey threw him off, and they're going down these winding, narrow canyons by donkey because it's like 7 or 8 miles down. Yeah, that was scary. Okay, did you see the most recent Dhar Mann video with Sarah Malinsky? Was that the one where she leaves Carlos because he lost his job? If so, yes, I saw it. How can we watch Rob's documentary? I don't know if he put it anywhere, but if you guys want to check out some of his filmmaking and photos, go to robertnorland.com. I should see if he should put it on his website. That would be cool to watch. It was him and his buddies on this trip, kind of a guy trip. They like to do that at least once a year, to go on these guy trips for a few days. Okay. Yes, what am I teaching in Sunday school? We're teaching out of the book of Judges, the first 3 chapters in the Old Testament. Okay, what is your actual goal in life? Is it only acting or doing something else? It is not only acting. It's changed, and it keeps changing and morphing. It's been many things over the years, and it didn't even start out being acting. But yeah, it went from acting to filmmaking. It went from acting to producing to filmmaking to directing, now back to like teaching. As you guys know, I have an online course coming out called You Are Worthy. And that course is to help people who love God but don't know how to love themselves enough to be able to see themselves and love themselves the way God does, so that they have the courage and the confidence to like walk into any room and feel like they belong, to know how to let others treat them so they're not a doormat, and to finally make peace with the person staring back at them in the mirror. So I think it's going to help a lot of people. We're editing level 1 right now. I'm hoping it'll be done by the end of the month. I've been promising it was going to come out in August, then September. Now I've been promising October. But some of the stuff is out of my hands, as my first editor got injured and had to stop editing. My second editor that I hired, turns out, I just found out 2 weeks ago. You want this bar? Okay. Here's your cereal bar. My second editor, he had problem with the files because his computer, his editing program, he started doing the editing that I needed, and his computer wouldn't sync up the words that I was saying with, because it was previously edited on a different format. So you'd see me talk, and then it would be like a bad martial arts movie where the lips weren't syncing. I said, I can't put that out. So then my third editor, she has a tendency not to finish things on time. So I'm like hesitant because I have to like really crack the whip with her, and it's exhausting, you know. And then I got a fourth editor to try to help me finish my course. And he's great. I love him, but his computer's too slow and it can't handle 4K footage. So I just had to send him a bunch of money this morning so he could upgrade his computer system to edit. So I want you guys who are waiting for my course, because I know some of you on here have purchased it. I don't want you to think I'm slacking or I'm lazy, or it's because like I've done my part. I spent 2 years writing it. I spent a year filming it. And now editing is not in my skill set. I do not have time to learn editing. So, hey Lexi's room, happy Sunday. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the status on that. I think what I'm gonna do though is once I get at least the first 4 lessons ready, I'll release it and then just put out like 1 lesson per week. And that will give them a couple weeks to edit the later lessons. So That's probably the best for people who have been waiting for it. Do you think Dhar Mann should start having behind the scenes footage for every single video? No, I don't think so. That would get, Derek says, you're not lazy. Thank you. Dad, do you want to put some breakfast patties in the oven for them? Yeah. Okay. So, yes, the lessons I'm talking about, Grayson, are from my online course. I don't think he needs behind the scenes footage for every video. That would be kind of boring. We only have one behind the scenes guy that runs that channel, and he's filming them all and editing them all. So he wouldn't even have time because they're shooting 4 or 5 videos a week. So he would just be shooting behind the scenes the whole time, wouldn't even have any time to edit. So right now that doesn't seem like a viable option, but you guys saw that they are trying some different stuff for behind the scenes. They are trying to do, oh, sorry if that was confusing. No, my dad does not live with me. When I said dad, I meant my son's dad's, Timothy and Elijah's dad. So that would be my husband. My dad lives in Minnesota. Lily, I don't even know, what do you mean by tutu dresses? You mean like the ballerina tutu skirt on it? I probably liked those when I was 8. I don't think I would wear them now. I do have some tutus in my costume shed from when I was a ballerina. Oh, Angela, thank you so much for your generous donation. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. Wow. Thank you. All right. So can we see him? No, Dhar Mann fam. You cannot see him. That has to be like, he has to agree to that. I can't just spring the camera on him. And if I ask him right now, he'll be like, no, I got to get the kids ready for church, which is true. I made him wake up early. Normally he's sleeping the whole time I'm on the live stream. Andrea, thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. You guys are so kind this morning. And well, you're always kind, but you're generous too this morning. So I normally wake him up after the live stream, but because I'm teaching Sunday school today, I woke him up beforehand so he could get the kids ready and fed. It's okay, Grayson. I appreciate you being here. Lily, I don't think it's necessarily an age thing. I think some people can look great in it at other ages. But we also have to know what works for, our style and our body type. So I'm sure there's 50-year-olds that look great in tutu dresses. So I don't think that matters. Okay, so what questions did I miss? Type them back in if I didn't see them. Were you ever unhappy with the video that you were in that you thought was cool at the time when you filmed it? Many, but not Dhar Mann ones. Many in regular Hollywood. Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is just an option. What do I think of that quote? I guess it's fitting in certain situations and certain circumstances. I don't know about never make. In some ways, I don't agree with it, just being a parent. So my kids, I'm not the only option. Dad's an option too. Sometimes I have their babysitter here. That's an option too. But I still make them a priority. So if you're talking about significant other relationship, then I would say that quote fits. You don't want to hear that your boyfriend or girlfriend has all these other options out there, because that would not be cool. So the Dhar Mann fam with the heart is 13. No, sometimes we have 11 and 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Didn't we have a 10-year-old on a couple weeks ago? Somebody wants to see my childhood photos. I have a couple on Instagram, and Lily, even one with, I think I even have one of my ballerina ones. Demetrius is 12. I have one of the ballerina little outfit on. I think I have my white and blue one. I'm posing with my little hands. So Andrea's 15. Are you happy working with Dhar Mann? I enjoy it. I've had a lot of, like, over 150 acting jobs in my career, and I like it. There's only maybe one or two that might have been like even more epic. So yeah, I can't complain. Oh, we have another 15-year-old on here. What was a decision you made in the past that you regret doing, looking back now in hindsight? I can think of one. One was a movie I worked on, and the guy was just a jerk. And I knew he was a jerk, but I didn't know right away. But after working on it for a while, we got Uni Kitty is only 10 years old. After working on it for a while and seeing how much of a jerk he was, we have a 6-year-old on. Wow. Elena is 38. He was so mean to everyone, and we had a producer who was paying. Sometimes people want to make films and they don't have any money to pay you. And I've worked on so many films like that where they didn't even have money to pay you. Thank you, CJ. And so sometimes people work for copy, credit, and meals. That just means they're going to give you a copy of it when it's done. They're going to feed you, and they're going to give you credit in the movie. And sometimes you're just working initially to build up your credit base. Hey, you're Yuvraj. Sometimes you're just working to build up your credit base. So this was one of those ones where you were getting gas as well. So we got gas. We were supposed to get gas money, but we were driving like 3 hours to get there. And I thought, I was telling the director, we need to give everybody at least $20 for gas. And he was like only giving people 10. And he was doing this weird thing when they would come ask for the money. He would like do some like weird voodoo thing with it. I don't know. I didn't know getting into it that he like sacrificed to voodoo gods, and he was just a hot mess, mistreated everyone. I'm not even going to tell you all the stuff he did, but I should have quit that sooner. That was like a decision I made where I felt like I made a commitment. I have to stick it out. I have to show that I'm a good person. So I allowed myself to get mistreated. I was basically doing all the work, getting all the actors, basically producing the film, getting everyone to stay. I didn't realize he was mistreating people and crossing the line in a lot of ways, trying to suggest things to the female actors, and I don't want to get into what he was doing. But I should have, that's a decision I made that I should have quit a long time ago, but I was so worried about, like, I made this commitment, I have to show that I'm loyal and honest, and if I knew what I knew now, I would have just been like, I'm out of here, and I would have told all the actors I brought, let's get out of here. But I, like, when they wanted to quit, I would call them and try to get them to stay, and we've already shot so much of it. It was a big mistake. That was one of many big mistakes I've made in my life. Hi, Carrie. Okay, Katherine, what is the name of your phone? I want to buy it. I think I have an iPhone 12. What is your favorite actor in Dhar Mann? I don't really have a favorite actor. But Shantae's pretty high on my list. Ricky's pretty high on my list. But everybody is awesome. I don't have any complaints about any of the actors there. Okay. All right. I always stand up for people who are being bullied and not being treated with respect in public. No one deserves abuse. If a parent is embarrassing their children, call them out on it in front of everyone. Yeah, I have a real heart for children too. I just go and I don't always confront the parent, but I just go into like prayer mode. I just start praying for them because I just get so like if this parent is doing this in front of all these people, it breaks my heart to think of what they could be doing to this child when no one is around, when no one could be, you know, call them out on it. Okay, so Elena says, my cat, Bonnie, is watching the live with me today and purring so loudly. Hi, Bonnie. You're a good kitty, aren't you? Wing says, I discovered you in Dhar Mann. I love your roles, especially the antagonist ones. Great job. Thank you. What do I say to a bully that bullies my friend? Do any of you guys have any advice for, is it Grayson? For a bully that bullies your friend? You know, and sometimes it's tough because if you try to tell them to stop bullying your friend, then they might start bullying you, or they might start bullying your friend worse. So in those situations, you might want to tell a teacher, tell their parent. Tell their parent. I think that would make a bigger difference because, yeah, do what you can, but I wouldn't necessarily interact with the bully yourself or try to get them to stop. Jazz, your cat's name is Jazz. I would pay a bigger person to stop bullying them, is what Frank said. What is it like to watch yourself on TV or in a movie for the first time? What is it like? It's been so long since I've watched myself on a movie. Brittany, I thought he already accepted Natalie's Roblox request because I remember him going to do that. I'll have to ask him about it. Remind me what her channel, is her name in her channel username? Timmy, are you in the house? Come here. Spamming time bias. The person who bullies your friend. Okay. And we've got someone whose cat's name is Aubrey. All right, Vias asks, the common phrase in Indian community is, what will people think? Yeah, people are always worried about what other people will think of them. I was stuck in that trap for so many years. I'm so glad I'm not anymore. Lily's telling me about Malaysia traffic being worse than Los Angeles traffic. How many times have you played a Karen in Dhar Mann? I've played a Karen many times, but I did a video on the 6 times. Yes, come here, Timmy. But I did a video on the 6 times I played a Karen who was actually named Karen in the Dhar Mann videos. Okay, Natalie wants to know why you haven't accepted her friend request on Roblox.
I don't know. I think I don't know. Can you give me Lenovo? Because I need a phone home.
Okay, so we'll find out from Brittany what her username is, then you can go on and friend her. She's Brittany's daughter, Natalie. Okay, so once I
can
find...
you tell me what your username is?
Yeah, okay. She said she can't wait to play with you. Natalie Natural.
Natalie Natural.
Natalie Natural.
Can you give me Lenovo?
Yeah, the Lenovo is on the kitchen counter behind the black stack things on the counter.
Natalie Natural?
Natalie Natural.
Can I remember that name?
Yeah, I'll help you remember it.
Can you go in the office and help me type it in?
No, I'll trust you to do the right thing. Well, you just have to look at your friend requests and look for the name Natalie Natural. Bonnie says hello, Timmy. Timmy's allergic to cats. So when he's around them. Right there in the corner, behind the black trays. So he has to take Benadryl when he's around cats. I want you to meet Dhar Mann. I want to meet Dhar Mann, you and Cat Xander. Cool. If you ever want to buy a dog or a puppy, you should go to Woodclot Companions. They have a lot of cute puppies. I like to get, if I ever do get a dog, I like to get it from a shelter or a rescue organization. Definitely not a breeder. Okay, we got someone else allergic to cats too. Oh, and so is Brittany. Just found out this year. Yeah, cat dander. But I guess you can get those skinless cats now, right? Hey, Zoe. Hey, Lily. Oh, thank you, Derek. Thank you for the little donation. As of right now, I don't have any plans for my birthday, except my friend wants to take me shopping for shoes. I bought her some shoes. I bought like 4 or 5 pairs of shoes when I was in Mexico, as gifts for people. And then, well, I bought some for myself too. I bought some that I thought they would like and I would like. And the pair I liked the best, I was like, I hope she doesn't pick this pair. And she did. And I was like, darn it. I wish I would have bought 2 pairs of those. But I had to get back on the tour bus. Everyone was waiting for me as I was at this store, and they had to find someone who could speak English, and they didn't know how to convert pesos to American dollars. And we were in like a tourist place. So I was like, I was surprised. So I was late back to the tour bus, and everyone was waiting for me. And otherwise I would have got a lot more shoes there. Anyway, what reaction when you first time you acted in Dhar Mann, were you nervous? No, I wasn't nervous. See, back then, Dhar Mann wasn't even famous yet, and nobody knew who he was. Now he's got people begging to be in his films and people saying it's their dream. But back when I started, they couldn't even get actors. They didn't like, nobody wanted to like act in them because they were like, who is this person? What is it? They didn't get it. So they would ask me like, who, do you know anybody who can play this role? Do you know anybody? So back in the early days, I got a lot of my friends and people from my acting class in the Dhar Mann films because they really couldn't get anyone to act in them. It was like referrals, like, who do you know that can do this? Who do you know that can do that role? Yeah. So now people are clamoring to be in them because now he blew up, and now, you know. Love your work from Canada. Thank you, Magnetic FM Radio. What was the first Dhar Mann video you were in? I don't remember what it was called, but it had to do with an elevator. It had to do with me not letting Carl onto the elevator because I didn't like the way he was like checking out my daughter. I thought he like was trying to be inappropriate with my daughter because he was like looking at her and asking her about her cheerleading and stuff like that. Thank you, Yashika. How does Dhar Mann get so many super cool ideas? You know, sometimes when you use your creative imagination more and more, it just expands. Also, I don't know if this is still happening, but at one point, Dhar Mann used to have a weekly meeting with like middle school and maybe even some high school kids. I think it was like an online Zoom kind of thing, to ask them about like what's going on at your school, what kind of problems and issues are you facing, and I think he would get real ideas from kids who were going through stuff. So, hi, Miss Pink. You got in here on the tail end of our Q&A, but you can always go back and rewatch it. We've got someone from a small town in Ohio. No, I didn't always live in California. I used to live in Minnesota. I grew up in Minnesota and grade school and graduated high school from Minnesota. Yes, I am well. I love your advice to all of us. I hope you take your own advice. DJ, that's great advice, to take my own advice. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. I had this Timothy's godfather, Antoine. He was a family counselor. He was a Jewish rabbi. And he used to come over once a week back when I was working on my first poetry book. And I would be like going through something, and I would be like upset about something, and I would be like wanting to ask him what to do because he's a counselor. And he would be, he like knows grammar, which I do not. So he would be helping me with how to know when to put a comma and when to put a semicolon. Like, I had all the words, but I didn't always know like how to make the punctuation do it properly. So he would be helping me with my punctuation before I published my book, and I would ask him for like advice on something, and then he would hand me back one of my poems. And it just so happened to be that the poem would be the exact advice I needed to take at that moment. It was like sometimes God would download these problems and answers and I would write them for other people, but I wasn't going through them at the time, so I didn't think of it. It's like God would give me the answers for whatever people were going through. And then when I started going through it, he would just hand me back like, here's your prescription. And that's how the series Poetic Prescriptions started. For those of you who know, I have 3 books that start out with the words Poetic Prescriptions. And you can download one of them for free if you go to poeticprescriptions.com/free book. So, yeah, Poetic Prescriptions for Pesky Problems. That was my first book. And he, Antoine, actually came up with that title. And it grew on me because that's kind of how my poetry gift blossomed. I used to just write about all my problems. And then one day I felt God telling me the poems weren't complete until I actually wrote about what the answers were. So once I had answers to the problems, then it became a poetic prescription. So like a doctor writes a prescription to help you with what's going wrong with you, I prescribe poetry instead of pills to cure your emotional and spiritual ills. Okay, Colin asks, how do I deal with racist people? I would say don't deal with them. Try to avoid them because a lot of times you can't change their perspective. You can't, I mean, it's really hard if people have been taught that, it's been ingrained in them since birth. It's really hard to change them, and it might not be your calling to change them. I mean, I would keep being you. I would keep giving being kind, being how God would want you to be, even if they're being like the devil. Be who you need to be despite what they're doing, and just keep being that love, being that light, but try not to be around them. Then you've got the people that are like racist, that are like, oh, I hate most of these kind of people except for you. Like, you're an exception to the rule. Like, that's just as bad. It's just as bad if they like one of your kind, but not everybody else. And thank you, Orly, for appreciating my advice. Racism goes under hate crimes in some parts of the world. Yeah, absolutely. My biggest fear, Demetrius, is not living up to my potential. And I think that's something we all struggle with. Maybe not everybody has fear about it, but I think that's why I work so hard and why I do so much, is because I want to live up to all the potential I have in life. I want to be like, by the time I get to the end of my life, I want to be all used up. I want to have nothing left in me to give. I want to have poured out everything I could and used all my gifts and talents to please God. I don't want to get to the end one day and be like, oh, I should have done all this. I could have done all this. Miss Pink asks, are you rich? In money, probably not, but in so many things. In love, in joy, in family, in friends. I'm rich in a lot of areas. Oh, thank you for the compliment on the necklace. Okay, so I'm going to take like one last question because I told you guys I'm hopping off early today since I have to go teach Sunday school. So let's see what it is. Lily, I already answered that question. I'll take one more question. Hey, Avantika. I love how well you rhyme cat. Me trying to rhyme. The cat in the hat got bored and sat on a bat. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, it rhymes. Yeah, it gets more challenging when you're trying to rhyme 2 or 3 syllable things. Demetrius, I have a video on that called my 8 favorite Dhar Mann videos. So watch that here on my channel. Just type in my 8 favorite Dhar Mann videos I'm in. Lily, I don't know the answer to that question. Should you publish it, Brittany? You know, probably not. Probably not. I think you might want to perfect that a little more first. Okay. I know I asked the question, but doesn't God speak to us in different ways, including dreams and sleep? That's a great question to end today on. Yes, God speaks to us in so many different ways. Sometimes in our dreams, sometimes in our sleep, sometimes in our thoughts, sometimes in our spirit, sometimes in our heart. Sometimes, you get the gut feeling, or you hear about intuition. Also, God will show you signs sometimes. Sometimes you'll be reading a passage of a book and it'll just jump out at you and you know that was meant for you. Sometimes he speaks to you through songs. How many of you guys have just been like a certain song, you just can't get it out of you and you feel like God is trying to tell you something through that song? Or sometimes he'll send people across your path. I've been sometimes speaking into people's lives where I'll directly hear something from God and I'll say it to someone and they'll be like, oh my gosh, how did you know that? So sometimes people who are tuned into God, occasionally I'm tuned in enough to have God speak a message through me to someone that I couldn't have known. That's sometimes called, there's 2 terms for it. There's words of wisdom and words of knowledge. And if you tune into God at a certain level, you can find out things about the future, about other people. And that's not to be confused with like clairvoyance or fortune tellers or something like that. It's completely different because that stuff is kind of demonic. They're not speaking to God when they're finding out stuff about you. They're speaking to the other side. So I would say stay away from fortune tellers, clairvoyance, stay away from even horoscope stuff. You guys, that's not good. Don't spend your time on that. But yes, God will speak to you through other people, through reading, through music, through so many different ways. Maybe that's something we can talk about on one of these upcoming lives. Okay, Miss Pink, I did a video last week on how to deal with bullying, so check that out on my channel. And VS, yes, there are some, but I haven't had time to compile a video on that yet. There was even one I shot last week that I wasn't supposed to be in. So you'll see that coming up soon. So, all right, take care, guys. We will see you next week. Live true, love hard, shine bright.